Film deep dive number 2.
Yeah.
We're going deep on the Patriots versus the Ravens. 23-17, the final score. Patriots get the victory. It was a game where you had some winds, some rainstorms. They did come through here into Connecticut, too. It was kind of crazy, right? My parents lost power.
There was tornadoes around?
It's like, what is happening? Like, stop that.
And I had to drive. I'm driving home.
After
the pregame show, Football Night in America. And I'm driving home, and first off, the wind almost blew me off the highway. But then I get into, like, the residential part of town. I had to pull over. I couldn't see. I've never had it rain so hard. I literally was like, wait, is my window foggy? I could not, because I've never seen it like that. I had to pull over for about 5 minutes and let it stop. But, yeah, we had some weather system here. And
so you're saying if you had to run a passing offense in those conditions, it would be very difficult. It would be a little difficult.
So bad for Baltimore on the last drive of the game.
They had no chance. They had no, and it would have been fun to see them have a chance, but they had none. But I think the biggest storyline of this game, not the fact that the Patriots were able to win, as an underdog, which they've done a lot with Bill Belichick here. Mike Reese of ESPN says the Pats now 7-6 under Bill Belichick when they're underdogs of 7 or more points. No other team in the NFL is 400 in that span.
Yeah.
So when the chips are down on Bill, he seems to come through somehow. But the fact that they were able to run the ball, and the fact that the Ravens were not. Because you've been talking all year about how do you beat the Patriots? You just run at them.
Yeah.
They're not big.
Right.
They can't stop the run.
Right.
And here you have one of the most dynamic rushing teams, if not the best, in the NFL. They couldn't do it. And the flip side was the Patriots could. I think that, for me, that was the story of the game.
That's the story of the game. There's no other way. All we're going to be talking about is run game here in this game, on both sides of the ball. Honestly, it's weird to say this. I do think the weather hurt Baltimore than it did New England.
Why?
Because I think Baltimore's pass offense had a little more potential to make some plays in the game than New England did. And that was taken away, let alone when it starts to rain like that, it makes the track slower. And we know the fastest guy on the track was number 8 wearing white and black last night. So that slows him down just a little too. Not to say that it was much, but, the elements I do think favored New England more than they did Baltimore in this particular matchup.
Okay, here's from D. Cromwell 90.
All right.
Is Cam doing enough in his audition for the Pats to bring him back next year? The best NFL show from Wales. Oh, he's talking about our show right there.
Thank you.
From Wales. Oh, I didn't check to see how high we are in Wales.
Yeah, come on, man. Get on it.
D. Cromwell 90.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Patriots and Cam Newton.
All right, we'll go to that side.
What they were able to do with him, because I think that is the story, because there were times in the beginning of the year where you're like, wow, he's back. Cam, look at all these idiot teams that didn't sign him. And then the last couple of weeks we go, eesh, maybe he's not the Cam that we remember. But I guess he can be if you use him the right way, and it seemed like this was the perfect situation.
Well, yeah, they use him the right way. His skill set still has a tremendous impact on the football game because of his ability to run and what Baltimore has to do to worry about that aspect. So, yes, and to answer our friend from Wales, I do think he's doing enough. One, hey, there's not a lot of talent around him in the pass game. He did have the COVID issues and all of that. I've always told you, is an extremely hard offense, and you're not going to just digest it all in 1 year. It's going to take a little time. I think by the way he's playing, and I don't know how much of the game you watched on TV last night, but Collinsworth and Al Michaels spent minutes gushing about New England, gushing about Cam Newton. When have you ever heard that out of New England? I've heard the same type of things. I've had the same kind of comments made to me by people up there that, like, the quarterback competition was over on the second day because Cam Newton had already taken control of the team. There was no competition. The whole team was like, oh, you're Cam Newton, you're the man. He's got tremendous leadership and energy, and there's something about him that you're hearing the Patriots like. There is an advantage he's bringing to their football team.
Which is why when he had a bad game,
they stuck with him.
He was able to come back.
Right, because I think they still looked at it like, he's still our best player there, and he's our best leader on our team, and he worked really hard. So our team will be able to give him the free pass for not playing well after COVID and all those things. And he's bounced back. And honestly, the last 3 weeks, other than the fumble on the last play against the Bills, he has played 3 perfect games in a row. Perfect. Like, managing the game with no talent. Cam, you can't make a mistake or they're going to lose. And he hasn't done that 2 weeks in a row. And there's a lot of pressure on him right now to make that happen. Now, to what they did in the football game. It's like we went back to 1964 and Vince Lombardi. I mean, I don't know, Pete, tell Ahmed in his ear or whatever, but 2 backs, 1 tight end, ISO, fullback lead the way, pulling guards, smash mouth football extraordinaire is what we saw.
You want to know the stat?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Last 2 weeks, 21 personnel, which like you said, 2 running backs, 1 tight end.
Right.
They've done it 57% of the time. Next highest team, Minnesota, 31% of the time.
That's insane because I feel like Minnesota lives in that formation. I mean, last night it was one after another. It's the most well-coached run attack in football. Not necessarily the most creative. I'm still going to give Shanahan and all the creative. But when you talk about the execution of the running game and then they run the run they want to run into the right look every time. You know, there's a code for certain running plays, right? We'd like to run this play against this defensive front. That gives us the best advantage to be successful in those things. They're always running the exact right play into the right front, let alone they have a special offensive line. And yeah, I took the Ravens to win this football game. And I know Calais Campbell wasn't out there. I still, even as good as this offensive line has been, I did not think they would be able to move the Ravens the way they did. They moved the Ravens, and, you know, the formula was I formation runs, screens, and a few play-action passes. And honestly, I don't know if they intended to do this or not, if it just fell this way. But me with New England, I would bet you it did not fall this way, that they intended to do it. With these run plays, when they pick perfect, man, a lot of the times the guys they stressed out were the rookies. It was, there's Patrick Queen. What are you going to do? You haven't seen this run. What are you going to do? Oh, Malik Harrison. Oh, rookie linebacker. What are you going to do here? I don't know. We put you in a position where I don't think you've had to defend this all year long. Oh, you know, 92, Matabuke. I'm probably saying his name wrong. The defensive tackle from Texas A&M. I apologize. But even a few run plays for him where you go, he's at the center of the point of attack of who they're trying to stress out here. So to me, that's just another things where I look at with New England. But to stay in 21, Baltimore famous for their secondary, their blitz packages, everything they do, they couldn't do any of it. It didn't matter because New England just said, ISO, pulling guard, eat that, eat that, eat that. And it really was phenomenal that way.
Eat that, and then okey doke. Here's Jacoby Myers throwing a perfect pass to Rex Burkhead.
I mean, first off, again, this is where New England is special. Clearly not the more talented team on the field. This is where COVID-19 hurt them because their greatest advantage is that weird guy who wears the mask and you know, cut off sleeves. Belichick is their greatest advantage. And this is where, you know, him and McDaniels, let's just talk about all 3 touchdowns. I mean, first off, New England, yes, trick play, touchdown. There we go, 7-7. It's not easy to score once you get down in there close against the Ravens. I think they realize, like, ooh, we're right on the fringe here. We don't want to get any closer to run this play. Let's run it now and score a touchdown instead of getting down there in the 9, and then we can't find a way to throw it in and we have to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Touchdown number 2, Rex Burkhead. I just want to make sure I got this right. Yeah. Oh, no. That was touchdown number 2, was the trick play by Myers.
Yep.
Touchdown number 1 was brilliant. The pick play behind the line of scrimmage for the running back coming out in the backfield. Tell me somebody, I've never seen anybody do that. No. Negative, Ghost Rider. I have not. You know, that's just, to me, that's brilliance again. Oh, yeah, okay, you got Lamar Jackson. Oh, okay, cool. Kick that field goal. We'll score touchdowns. I mean, that's just where they're amazing. But to run that play and to know that Baltimore, the guy that's blitzing on the edge, if he has the back that comes at him free, he's going to have to hit him to let the guy who is covering him man-to-man to get over there and get in time. They just went, oh, that guy that you're supposed to slow him down, we're going to stop you, and you won't be able to even slow our guy down. Walk-in touchdown. And then The third touchdown, which I just want to make sure I got this right.
The Cam Newton
Newton run.
Yeah.
They
pulled a guard who had no one to block.
Right. Because they got in an empty set, and they usually run the quarterback draw up the middle. And Baltimore sold out to stop the up the middle run, and New England probably knew it and said, "Hey, go ahead, sell out. We'll pull out the edge." And you're right. He didn't get touched. There was nobody even there for the guard to block because they had game planned it so perfectly. That's where they're just next level. And I'm amazed by them. And, Cam Newton, it wasn't brilliant, but he managed the game the right way. And they they did things to Baltimore that Baltimore usually does to other people.
And so they're not out of the playoff hunt yet.
No.
As giddy as everyone was to write them out, myself included, who didn't pick them, they're in it. They're 4-5, and they've got a chance. You play good enough defense, you run the ball, as long as you don't get down early, because they're not a comeback team, clearly.
No.
But it doesn't look like the Ravens are a comeback team either now.
No.
Lamar Jackson, what is it now? 0-6 in his career when falling behind by 10 or more points.
Yeah.
Of course, like you mentioned, the rain certainly hurt. Any team that fell behind is going to have a hard time coming back with a passing game. But here's the question. Justin Sandu, why didn't the Ravens have more success running the ball against the Patriots' weak run D?
Yeah.
What happened? Because I think what was the final tally? It was 173 yards for the Patriots, just 115 for the Ravens.
Yeah, that's underwhelming for the Ravens because it really, and a lot of that is Lamar Jackson scramble yards and things like that too, to where it's not like, oh, we lined up and just beat your butt into the ground and ran the ball that way. There's a difference between that. Lawrence Guy, other than Stephon Gilmore, is the second most important guy to that defense. He has not been out there the last few weeks. That was crucial to their success. Number 99, Byron Cowart, he popped up a lot during the football game. Number 70, Adam Butler. When those three are healthy, it's at least enough size to go, okay, there's something there to where maybe now Belichick can work his magic. Belichick basically played 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 3 safeties, 2 corners the whole game. That's all they did. I will say this is the first line I wrote because it just came to me when I wrote, I bet you the 49ers game a few weeks ago helped New England to be better against the Ravens. With all the edge and the speed sweeps and things, they really struggled stopping the 49ers. I think to get the fact that they had that as a learning tool, whatever, helped them in this game. They never got gashed like that in this football game, you think about it. None of those type of runs. There was really nothing like that. And for the most part of the game, Ahmed, they basically did some different things with their front, as they always do, moving people around. But they played 3 deep, 4 under coverage almost the whole game. And they were not going to be, stretched vertically or horizontally with that type of the running game. They always had people on the edge, and okay, there you are on the edge. We got a guy out here who's going to set the edge and now make you turn it up because we got other people pursuing the tackle there. They were really great in all aspects of that part as far as their defense is concerned.
This one's from Ravens NFL too, so an interested party here.
Yeah.
Why won't the Ravens stick to a 2 running back rotation with Edwards and Dobbins, who to me clearly look better than Ingram?
I don't know either.
Down on Ingram.
You're
down on Ingram.
Well, he's not 100% yet.
Yeah.
You could see that last night. He couldn't hit the hole as hard as Gus Edwards could. And I don't know where Dobbins was last night. I don't really understand that.
5 carries, 13 yards for Dobbins.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by the lack of that. I do think that, there was moments where Baltimore got a little big play happy. They were trying to make a big play in the pass game and trying to get out on the edge of the run game and make big plays that way, where I wanted to go, wait, you just ran it up the middle for 6. Run it again. Like, what are you doing? So I feel like they got a little impatient in their attack as well. But I think, overall, the biggest thing is, it's a great game plan. They were healthy up front. There's no Stephon Gilmore. But the biggest thing that holds Baltimore back, and this is going to go back to what you're saying with the leads and everything, is when they play a coach like Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel or Steve Spagnuolo, they're outside-the-box thinkers, they go, the pass game's easy. I got to figure it out. I know what they like to do in these formations and this personnel set. They run the same things every week, so I kind of know where they're going to be. So I can take more chances in the run game and stop it that way. And to me, that's the biggest thing holding them back. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. There's not enough in their pass game overall to scare you in a game like that where, yeah, it's a good coach and he's got something for you up front, and now, here we go. And it's too much of Lamar kind of having to make it happen in the pass game. It's just there's not enough that's delivered to him with completions and things like that.
They fall to 6-3 to the Ravens now. And, yeah, having to make it in the pass game. And the Ravens, I kept thinking that Hollywood Brown would be kind of like the go-to guy in the receiving game. And I think for both teams, right, I almost wonder if Myers can be that guy for Cam Newton, because it seems like both these teams, they're in desperate need. Like we did the first game that we talked about was DeAndre Hopkins and Stephon Diggs. It's like, wow, if you can get a number one receiver for a first-round draft pick, you do it, because they can change the whole dynamics of your offense.
Yeah, they can.
Both these teams could use that guy, and it doesn't appear that they have it on their roster.
No, I don't think they do either. Brown, I've said this with Hollywood Brown. I mean, I'd like to see them speed sweep, screens, do some more stuff like that with him. You can't just line him up as a traditional wide receiver at times. If somebody gets a hand on him, the play's over a lot of times. He does not play big. That is his biggest issue. It really is. And to add to this, too, a little bit, there's stress in that relationship. There is. I could see it. I watch film every week. They're friends, Lamar and Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And you could see that he wants to get him the ball. And there was even a few times on TV last night, but I see it on film, too, because Hollywood, there's conversation between them after every third down, and, I was open, and, what'd you see, blah, blah, blah. So I do think there's pressure on that situation overall. But the pass game, it has to improve that way. It's just not, like I've always said, it's not diverse enough to stress out the really good defenses. And, you talked about, like, who's going to be that guy on the Patriots. They're not going to have that guy. It's not possible. But when they run the ball and, Jacoby Myers a good route runner and they tie it all together, he can have nights like last night. Damiere Byrd's also another guy who I like, but he wasn't even on the stat sheet last night because he had to meet Marlon Humphrey. And Marlon Humphrey is like, he's on the version of Jalen Ramsey and Stephon Gilmore. You take your pick who's the three best corners in football. It's one of those three. And, I don't know if that's going to happen, but concerning for the Ravens, certainly.
Concerning. They've fallen to 6-3. Lamar doesn't look like the same guy that was the MVP last year. Hat tip to Jay Richex. He asked a question similar to the one I was teeing you up on the wide receivers and if they have a go-to guy out there. And you said
no,
they don't.
No, they don't.
Patriots get the win, much needed win for them. Ravens, they got to do some things here in the next couple weeks to get us feeling good about them again.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.